We begin this hour live in Washington, and our focus is right there, the White House. Donald Trump winding up his time in there. This is his last full day in the Oval Office. And Joe Biden is set to arrive in Washington later today as the president-elect. They will not be meeting. Just one of the traditions being broken in this unprecedented inauguration. But there will be celebrations for tomorrow's swearing-in ceremony. Take a look at the Washington Mall last night. A display called the Field of Flags. About 200,000 flags filling the park and meant to represent Americans who won't be able to attend the inauguration because of the pandemic. 56 beacons of light representing the states and territories also shone up into the night sky along the mall and over Capitol Hill. And with that as our backdrop, let's say good morning to senior Washington editor Lindsay Duncombe. Looking ahead to Joe Biden's arrival there in Washington today, what is going to happen on the inaugural eve, Lindsay?
Well, the tone here in Washington and in the events leading up to the inauguration, Heather, is somber. Normally, this would be a celebratory 24 hours, but the incoming administration is, with its actions, trying to address both the grief and the division that exist in the country right now. And so we will hear repeatedly a message of unity and healing. That's going to happen tonight at the Reflecting Pool on the Mall, where there will be a lighting ceremony in honor of the close to 400,000 Americans who have died in the COVID-19 pandemic. And that is going to spread to the lighting of monuments all over the United States, monuments and landmarks. But all of this is happening in a mall and in a city that is pretty much emptied of people in the downtown core. We've seen the images of the National Guard, the police, and the media. There is a very eerie feeling around this. And as those unusual ceremonies get underway, the usual business of a new administration is starting. The Senate is back today, Heather, and the members of Joe Biden's cabinet, including the nominee for Secretary of State, the nominee for Treasury Secretary, are beginning their hearings in the hopes that they can be confirmed quickly. But that process, which will go for the next several days and weeks, is really going to be disrupted, at least in some way. We're still waiting to find out how, by the impending impeachment trial in the Senate of Donald Trump.
And I want to talk about Trump. You mentioned the mall, though, just in case people weren't sure exactly, because you were referencing the Lincoln Memorial there, Lindsay, and that is where, in the reflecting pool in front of it, what a beautiful shot already this morning. And that is where that activity is going to be centered later today with Joe Biden at 5:30 Eastern. So this will be part of Lindsay's day. But you mentioned Donald Trump, his last full day in office today. What about his plans?
Well, what we're watching for are pardons. It's been reported there could be dozens upon dozens of pardons issued by the president in his final 24 hours in office. That's not unusual. Clemency, even controversial clemency, is one of the usual things that a president can do, often does, in the last day of a presidency. But what could be remarkable about what we hear today is who Donald Trump decides to pardon. How close will that person be to the president and his inner circle? There had been some speculation and reports that Donald Trump was considering preemptive pardons for members of his family, even himself, although there's reporting this morning that he may be moving away from that. We haven't seen the president in several days, not for a week, and he doesn't have his Twitter account, so we haven't heard from him either. That is expected to change as he departs. Donald Trump would like to have a goodbye ceremony at Andrews Air Force Base on his way to Florida. He will not be attending the inauguration of Joe Biden. It's the first time that a sitting president hasn't been there for the transfer of power since 1869. So a huge departure from tradition. But the other thing that's happening today is the limits of Donald Trump's power are being exposed now. You know, yesterday, Donald Trump said that he wanted to, or ordered that the travel bans because of the pandemic from Europe and Brazil be lifted on the 26th of January when new testing rules come into place. So he made that order. What happened right away? The Biden administration said, yeah, we're going to rescind that as soon as we take in office. So essentially what Donald Trump did, said, wanted was meaningless.